Yes, 3 in a row on a Monday.
We can't be stopped.
Can't be stopped. We are in Acts chapter 25. Paul is going to appeal to Caesar, but
It should be Acts 23 continued, but
yeah,
no.
23 part B, C, however you want to put it. But it's just, once again, it is what it is. But just remember, the story of Scripture is not so chapter divided. There are letters, there are narratives, there are stories.
Yeah.
And they tell something bigger than themselves. The chapters.
And the chapters and verses don't always help us, but the narrative, if we'll pay attention to it, will.
Yeah, there's even some places where even the verses themselves are. Why'd you put? Yeah, especially Ephesians.
Especially.
All right, go ahead.
Festus then, having arrived in the province 3 days later, went up to Jerusalem from Caesarea. The chief priests and leading men of the Jews brought charges against Paul, and they were urging him, requesting concession against Paul, that he might have him brought to Jerusalem. At the same time, setting an ambush to kill him on the way. They haven't given up on this. They just are intent on doing this. He gets passed, the ball gets passed politically with different people from Rome who were in charge, and now he's come under Festus, and they're trying to get him to send him back to Jerusalem, and they can lie in wait then and get him. Festus then answered that Paul was being kept in custody in Caesarea, that he himself was about to leave shortly. So, no, this is the deal.
Just imagine, like, being Paul and sitting there and watching you just be changed from hand to hand. You knowing God has told you you're making it to Rome. So there's nothing, none of these schemes of these guys are going to do that is, and you're just kind of sitting back enjoying the ride.
Yeah, because you got Romans who get scared, Romans who do this, Romans who want bribes, Romans who change it over. We got people who are keeping this plot alive to kill him, and they see something spring, hey, maybe we can do it this time. It's just a bunch going on.
And how would we, getting to some application stuff, I know, but how would we handle this? Like, how would we handle this kind of, it almost, if you could have any kind of political power right now, you've had the Pharisees, the Sadducees, you've had Rome, all these powers kind of coming against you just because of what you believe. How does the church to handle that? I think Paul's giving us a good display.
You just patiently
endure,
do your Christian thing, and let all that stuff that's swirling around settle out eventually, because God's in control.
And as James said, count it all joy,
yes,
brother, when you suffer various trials.
Therefore, he said, let the influential men among you go there with me, and if there is anything wrong about the man, let them prosecute him. Fair enough. After he had spent not more than 8 or 10 days among them, he went down to Caesarea, and on the next day he took his seat on the tribunal and ordered Paul to be brought. After Paul arrived, the Jews who had come down from Jerusalem stood around him, bringing many and serious charges against him, which they could not prove. They couldn't prove them when they first made them, and they can't do any better now. While Paul said to his own defense, I have committed no offense against either the law of the Jews or against the temple or against Caesar. But Festus, wishing to do the Jews a favor, answered Paul and said, are you willing to go to Jerusalem and stand trial before those there on these charges? But Paul said, I'm standing before Caesar's tribunal, where I ought to be tried. I have done no wrong to the Jews, as you also very well know. If then I am a wrongdoer and have committed anything worthy of death, I do not refuse to die. But if none of these things is true, of which these men accuse me, no one can hand me over to them. I appeal to Caesar.
And that's a done deal.
Boy, we've cut that one off, haven't we? Then when Festus had conferred his counsel, he asked, you have appealed to Caesar? Or answered, you have appealed to Caesar, and you shall go. So washing his hands, as everybody seems to be doing along the way.
Well, and here's the thing. If a Roman citizen appealed to Caesar, and Festus tried to stop that appeal,
ooh, that could go bad for Festus.
That'd be, he's like,
Caesar's ears could hear of Festus.
Yeah.
So much for Festus. Now when the several days had elapsed, King Agrippa and Bernice, or Bernice as they may have called it, arrived in Caesarea and paid their respects to Festus. While they were spending many days there, Festus and Paul's case before the king, saying, there's a man who is left as a prisoner by Felix. And when I was at Jerusalem, the chief priests and the elders of the Jews brought charges against him, asking for a sentence of condemnation against him. I answered them, it is not the custom of the Romans to hand over any man before he is accused and meets his accusers face to face and has an opportunity to make his defense against the charge. That's a big part of our
Yeah.
jurisprudence system.
Being able
Face
to
your
see,
accusers.
face your
Yeah.
accusers. You know, you don't realize, and I know we have brought this up, but I want you guys to remember, this stuff is going on for 2+ years. We're reading this in a matter of minutes.
Yes.
But this is, Paul's having to sit and deal with this.
Wait for it to sort itself
and wait
out.
for it. But he's active during this time. You know, he's still
He's
doing
getting some
stuff.
opportunities to do good stuff, as we're about to see again. So after they had assembled here, I did not delay, but on the next day took my seat on the tribunal and ordered this man to be brought before me. When the accusers stood up, they began bringing charges against him, not of such crimes as I was expecting. They simply had some points of disagreement with him about their own religion and about a dead man, Jesus, whom Paul asserted to be alive. Being at a loss as to how to investigate such matters, so what do you do?
It'd be like us going. Imagine us going over to like a foreign country.
Yeah, trying a Hindu
a
case
religion
or
we don't
something,
know
yeah.
anything about, and talking about their dead spirits, and they're trying to argue over dead spirits. We're gonna, stop.
This is not my thing.
not
You know. I asked whether he was willing to go to Jerusalem there stand trial on these matters, but Paul appealed to be held in custody for the emperor's decision. I ordered him to be kept in custody until I had sent him to Caesarea. Then Agrippa said to Festus, I also would like to hear this man for myself. Tomorrow, he said, you shall hear him. So, wow. Agrippa being more interested in Jewish things and more aware of them would like to check this out.
It's just amazing the way this goes back to the way Paul is holding himself, but even the message of Jesus is something that when you hear it and you hear it right, it can't just be that's tomfoolery, right? It's not. And these are smart people. These are educated men. These are people who have no time for foolishness.
Yeah. But they know when sense is being made and foolishness is being pursued.
Yeah, and you know, we in our today's world, you know, we just think that religion is the epitome of stupidity and, you know, foolishness and of what you got people here who've heard religious talk and God's talk their whole life, and yet when they hear this, there's something different about
something
it.
different.
That intrigues their interest.
I was listening to a person and reading a person both, along with what you said, who are mocking Christianity in the worst way, and they don't even know what they're talking about.
No.
They don't. I mean, they're saying things as if that's what the Bible said. The Bible didn't even come close to saying things like that. It's just sad. You wish they could just, hey, I'd like for you to at least hear it right.
Yeah. Then if you want to keep,
Yeah, that's your business.
that's your business, but at least hear it right.
Yeah.
You know.
So then on the next day, when Agrippa came together with Bernice amid great pomp, so this is a pretty big do here, and entered the auditorium accompanied by the commanders and the prominent men of the city. At the command of Festus, Paul was brought in. Festus said, King Agrippa, and all you gentlemen here present with us, you see this man about whom all these people and the Jews appeal to me, both in Jerusalem and here, loudly declaring that he ought not to live any longer. But I found that he had committed nothing worthy of death, and since he himself appealed to the emperor, I decided to send him. Yet I have nothing definite about him to write to my Lord. Therefore, I don't know what's going on here. Therefore, I have thought him to you, and especially before you, King Agrippa, so that after the investigation has taken place, I may have something to write. Help me figure this thing out, please. For it seems absurd to me in sending a prisoner not to indicate the charges against him.
Once again, and you got to give them some credit, because not knowing, if you don't know the Jewish law well, and you start hearing scholars of the Jewish law debate, because you know they're hearing both sides, and we're only hearing bits and pieces of it. But they've been arguing, well, what does this passage mean, probably? What about these passages? What about
know
this?
what passages from passage.
They're like, Isaiah, what? What are you talking about? You know, this dead
me.
servant? You
Yeah.
know. So you got to, but I just find it funny that even the Jews themselves cannot articulate their charges well enough. The guy's like, I don't know what they're wrong.
Give me something.
Give me something.
Give me something.
Because none of what you're saying is lining up with what is actually taking place.
And I suspect they've got some contradictory, like they did with Jesus, you know, this person, that person, and they don't all add up. They're so in a frenzy, and in a protracted frenzy for over 2 years. They're still intent on this.
Yeah. And once again, another bad chapter division, because now we actually have Paul's defense before Agrippa.
Which is probably the most significant thing of all
Yeah,
in all this.
This is the cream
De la cream.
the cream of the crop there. But we're going to leave you on a high note, or a cliffhanger, I guess. Or you can go read it yourself.
Well,
I mean,
no.
a lot of this stuff you can kind of read
It's
through
in the
and
Bible.
work through it yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
We're just here to,
Give you an opportunity to think about it.
yeah. So anyway, this will probably be the last one, at least before lunch. I've got a thing. We might do another one afterward, and maybe another Chosen episode this week. We'll see how the week goes.
Who knows?
Don't want to promise anything because
No,
weeks.
let's kind of hold it.
Yeah, let you anticipate it. But anyway, we love you.
Yes, we do.
We do hope you have a great week, and come check us out. This
Lenore
past
City?
Sunday we had
Better hurry. Pews are getting filled up.
We had like 160-ish. Preacher count was probably 170, maybe 180.
Who knows? Maybe 500 or 600. Who knows?
Count a couple people twice.
No, but we've been growing, and I think it's because we're doing some good biblical stuff here in the name of Jesus. So come check us out.
Absolutely. Love you.